Hello again, fans around the world. Welcome to another episode of Primetime Muscle. I'm Tim Wilkins, as always, joined by Tarek Elgindy.
Thank you, Tim. Great to see you. I miss you a lot. And I gotta tell you, it hurts to say, but I do miss Chris as well.
We all miss Chris Cormier. What's going on, buddy?
Thank you. How you doing, Tarek? I didn't get any introduction, but just what's going on, buddy? That's what I get.
We're gonna
40 years in the game, and what's going on, buddy?
we were building up to the crescendo that is Chris Cormier.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, you have low self-esteem, dude. Just wait for him.
I just want what I came for.
Oh, he's going to introduce you. You know, you don't have to get all sensitive in the beginning of the show.
It starts the day off.
So we're 30 seconds in. The Louis Vuitton Don has already shared his therapy session.
Versace Don today.
So Versace Don, and both you guys, you know, when I say bodybuilding fans around the world, of course, I mean all classes and all divisions that we talk about, as well as we have a couple of countries right now that are translating our show live. Iran, I believe, is one.
Tim, if you go on social media, Iran, obviously Hadi won the Mr. Olympia, but they love our show. They translate our stuff that we're explaining on the video wall, Brazil, in Spanish, in Mexico. So we must be doing something good. This is what I think.
I watched it in Canada when I was up there, live on YouTube, and they translated it to Canadian, so we thank you all for joining us. So, guys, our first topic of the day is a very exciting thing that is coming back from the dark ages. I emceed Vince Taylor's run of 5 years of the Masters Mr. Olympia. And Jake Wood is bringing back not just the men's bodybuilding, he's bringing back the whole gamut of all the physique, women's, all the classes to where, Tarek?
Cluj-Napoca in Romania, August 26th and 27th. Put the camera on me. Hello, athletes and fans of bodybuilding. Tarek Elgindy, along with my great hosts, Tim Wilkins and Chris Cormier. On August 26th and 27th in Cluj-Napoca, Romania, we will have an event promoted by Wings of Strength and my great friend, Alina Popa. The Masters Olympia is back. Back to you, Tim.
That was subtle. That was really awesome. Do you know how long he was? I heard him through the hotel room walls last night. Cluj-Napoca. He's screaming into the mirror. He's practicing.
I was practicing, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you got it down.
Yeah, I do my work. I take this seriously, Chris.
I like that.
So,
I heard you.
Chris, we're going to start with you on this one because when we talk Masters Olympia, you're the only one of us that's been an Olympian. And you're the only one old enough to get a discount on coffee at McDonald's right now. I'm 9 months away from joining you as a senior citizen.
Oh, well.
But as a legend.
I'll be going to Denny's also.
You getting the freebies? So we got, you're in touch with so many of these guys that are eligible for this. I think men's bodybuilding starts at 40 or 45, and then the various classes have different things. But who are some of the guys you're talking to that are saying, you know what, I want to jump in there?
Well, we got Victor Martinez, who would be a formidable opponent. I mean, all he had to do is probably drop some water, and he'll be ready to win that thing. I mean, he's been in shape for a while. He didn't finish his last competition for maybe like 10 years ago. So he's fresh. He's kind of freshly removed as if you're going to be a master in the show. It's not like he's got like 20 or 30 years trying to.
And Victor stays pretty.
His physique, yeah.
He stays pretty stage ready though. A lot of these guys, as they get older, don't blow up 50 to 60 pounds of water and pizza and then try to dial it in. They stay pretty close to stage weight.
Yes, and he had a lengthy career, and someone thought he could have beat Jay Cutler.
2007, yeah.
So
quite controversial.
And he won the Honor Classic that year, and then he could have went and won. Was it a 1 point difference?
Well, apparently he was winning in prejudging 2007 against Jay Cutler, and then Jay Cutler came back for the finals and won the event. Controversial decision. You know, a lot of people thought that Victor won the event, but I gotta agree with Chris. Victor Martinez is genetically gifted. He's not only a great bodybuilder historically, but if you look at his lines, he is one of the prettiest physiques we've seen in decades. So I don't think he's going to lose those lines. The question is, as we get older, our legs start going away, right? That's the first thing.
I can guarantee you he's going to probably need to work on those legs.
You know?
But that's going to be, he's going to be 50 next August. So I think I think he stands a really good chance on winning this thing.
So you talked to maybe Johnny Jackson, who was a phenomenal.
Johnny Jackson.
I don't know if we kind of.
He's like really want to do it. I mean, Victor wants to know about what we're talking about here. That's what Victor wants to know. Johnny Jackson, see, he just all in because he just wants that title. I think he misses competing. He's still, he went through a period of coming down from being, retired to where he really didn't want too much to do with it. But he started getting back in the bug when he's been doing some tours, along with his other comrade, what's his name from Texas?
Branch Warren. Yeah.
So him and Branch Warren got together, and I think that, stirred up those juices again.
So Tarek, okay, you look at Dexter Jackson. Dexter looks happy, done. Like, hey, I'm good. I don't need this anymore. I'm gonna hang out with Gail and the grandkids and just chill. Then you look at a guy like Kamal, who's still at the top of his game, and he's how old is Kamal now?
51, 52. That's the heavy hitter, Tim. There's no way we can deny that's the heavy hitter. This guy competed at the Tampa Pro, got second on a battle against Akeem Williams. He goes to the Olympia 212, places third. That's the guy that's competing right now. And you can't ignore that. You can't ignore the momentum. Victor Martinez, great shape, great lines. We haven't seen Victor in 10 years, We haven't seen some of these guys. Johnny, one of the strongest bodybuilders of all times. The thickness on top is incredible. But Kamal is the guy that this will not feel any different than what he's been doing every single year for the past 5 years. This guy has been doing 2 or 3 shows. He's been competing against big guys, and we know he's going to be conditioned, and he's got the legs. So Kamal is the most dangerous threat on that open. And I don't know if he can do the 212 or the open, but my recommendation to him was go to the open and get that money. Because if you place second in Tampa to Akeem, you already beat so many guys in the open. Man, this could very well be his money.
Okay, guys, one of the things I used to love about the Masters Olympia, you have your names. You have your Kamal, Victor Martinez, Johnny Jackson. And then guys would come out of the woodwork back then, like Don Youngblood, Flavio Boccanini. Flavio, and I'm sure he was amazing at 4'11", I believe. John Natashak, Palumbo, all these guys. Who else? We got some Freddie Small.
Small's going to be formidable. He's going to be. I mean, he knows loves to pose and everything, but he was. I mean, even at the last Olympia, he was like, "I'm getting ready for that."
Yeah,
I'm getting ready for that.
So Brazilians, who do we have coming up?
So I want to mention, what Chris said. Freddie Biggie Smalls. Yeah. He's a national champion, and he's younger. He's younger than Johnny Jackson. He's younger than Kamal. He's younger than Victor Martinez. So he could be the youngest out of all the Masters competitor, and he might have the freshest body there. And he's a national champion. I saw him at the Olympia. He looks massive. We're talking about some of the Brazilian competitors. We're talking about Eduardo Correa, who's very formidable. Fernando Maradona.
Didn't he play soccer?
No, that's a different one.
Okay.
And we're talking about, let's talk about the ladies. Alessandra Pinheiro, remember? Alessandra Pinheiro, she won the Arnold Classic twice as an amateur, and she already committed to doing the show. Now, I also want to say some of the biggest stars in bodybuilding are going to be there, Tim. And we're talking.
Can't name any names.
We can't say any names.
For sure.
But I'm telling you, if you live in Europe and you want to finally see the biggest, and I mean the biggest star.
Who could that be?
In bodybuilding, go right now.
Who could that be?
And book your ticket to Cluj-Napoca, because it might be your chance to see the biggest stars in bodybuilding. They're going to make a presence at the Masters Olympia.
So no guarantees, but one of them might rhyme with Butler. Just saying. So let's get back. So you mentioned Alessandra Pinheiro.
Yes.
And this is something, when I used to MC the show, it was the Jantana Classic Masters Miss Olympia. And they had one class. and we didn't even have men's physique back then. You didn't have classic because everybody was still a classic physique. We got everything here. What all classes do we have?
So we're going to have all classes. Some of the age restrictions change. So some of them are up to 40 and some of them are up to 45. So if you are a competitor, just pay attention and make sure that you enter the proper age. And bodybuilding is up to 40. That opens up a lot of guys that are in really good shape. We talk about Kamal being in his 50s. There's some guys that we might not know. They're 41, 42. How old is Akeem? You're close to him.
Akeem Williams?
Williams, I'm thinking he must be around 38, 40, something like that.
So if Akeem Williams is over 40, I mean, he needs to book that flight immediately.
To Cluj-Napoca.
Cluj-Napoca, yes. He needs to book that flight immediately. And then you have the old school guys coming back. I also want to mention some of the classic physique guys, right? Hey, Denny Hester. Denny Hester is the first classic physique champion. You're probably looking at this and going, hey, I can jump in this and win.
Well, speaking of staying in stage shape, Danny Hester was on the Olympia broadcast with us, and he looks amazing. And he looked like, you know, a couple of cardio sessions and a nice carb up, and he's ready for stage.
Danny always looks like that.
He's always like that. He has this massive truck. He parks at Gold's Gym Venice. The guy has had a set of abs for the last 50 years, man. We're going to bury Danny, and he's going to have a six-pack.
My abs are like Groundhog Day. They come out. If they see themselves, we get 6 weeks of competition, and then they go back.
And I'm just trying still.
You can't see my abs with an X-ray, man.
Well, we are really excited to have all the divisions, 40, 45. We got guys that when you qualify, and this is one of the reasons behind bringing this back. When you qualify at Masters Nationals and Team Universe and these shows as a master, you say, all right, what are my venues? What do I have to aspire to? Now you have something to aspire to. Now you have a reason for all these amazing pros like Victor Martinez and Johnny Jackson, Freddie Small, to stay in the game or come back and go, you know what? To put on those George Foreman gloves and say, all right, I still got this. Let's go beat some young bloods. And they get out there and still duke it out. We look forward to having all of you at the Masters Olympia from around the world, making that your destination for August
26th and 27th, Cluj-Napoca, one of the most beautiful cities in Europe and one of the richest cities in Europe. According to the numbers.
Of all the Clujes, it's one of the nicest, Chris.
Yeah, I like that one.
One of the nicest Clujes. All right, we will be back with more Prime Time Muscle right after this.
People always ask how I got here. I was willing to work just a little harder than everyone else. Every damn day. If I can have hundreds of hours back, you know I'm gonna grab them. Spending hours prepping chicken, rice, and vegetables, F that. I rely on perfect nutrition. I rely on Trifecta.
All right, welcome back. We are talking about one of the biggest rivalries, we think, in all of bodybuilding right now. The second and third place, controversial second and third place, because neither one of them thought they should have been there.
Nick thinks he should have been the runner-up.
Nick Walker and Derek Lunsford.
Chris is right. We did a live on Olympia TV, and Nick Walker said, I thought I should have been second. That's a direct attack to Derek Lunsford. I was better than you. And, you know, there was this talk about Derek Lunsford is not going to be competing, is not going to be doing the Arnold or any show because he's scared of Nick Walker. Hey, stop right now. Derek Lunsford is not scared of anyone because he went to Pittsburgh to do the posing routine when he wasn't that prestigious. So he's not scared of anyone. I can speak on behalf of Derek. He's not scared. Now, can I say that Nick Walker might have some resentment against Derek? Yes. He might say, well, this guy got an invitation, didn't qualify, placed ahead of me. I think I should have placed ahead of him. Maybe he took my money. And on the live, Tim, he said, I will never lose to Derek again.
Damn. Shots fired.
Little backstage action at the Olympia. You were running one of the interview booths.
Chris and I were backstage, and Chris went back to do the pay-per-view. And I was just there having a coffee. And Matt Jensen and Nick Walker are talking backstage, and then I notice that Derek Lunsford, he's super confident. You know, some guys, you know, Chris knows this. Chris knows this because he's been there. Some guys are super confident. They take their clothes off and they're posing and warming up in front of everybody.
Right.
Some guys, they're all covered up in the corner because they know it's going to be the worst day of their lives. And Derek Lunsford knew full well he was in shape. And he's doing his pump up right there in the middle of everybody, kind of showing to everybody, hey, this is going to be a ride, guys.
There's only one time in your life to peacock at that level. That's the time.
Correct. And I see Matt Jensen and Nick Walker they say something to each other, and they both looked at Derek. So it was in their mind.
So what do you think that was?
Chris, you've been there. You know, Tim and I only dreamed about being there. You're probably the best person to say what they were probably saying.
I was there, Derek, but I was running by to go to the bathroom and went, hey, fellas, what's up? And then I ran back past.
Yeah, so the thing is, when you take third, it's great. You're like the top echelon of the sport, but it sucks at the same time because you're in third. And you're always looking at the next one up above you in second, which is Derek, and be like, and you picking that person apart. Yeah, I did the same thing in the flex wheel. I'm like, oh yeah, I should have beat him. Hamstrings not in, glutes was kind of full, my back is way wider. Just pick them all apart. You're doing that backstage, and then that's what he's doing. He's looking over, he's picking apart Derek and saying, oh yeah, I could take him. That's exactly what he was thinking.
So guys, we're gonna look at some pictures in a minute, but I gotta ask you. So, and you'll know this from not just bodybuilding, but from jiu-jitsu. So we do this in life. The guys that are the loudest sometimes have the least to back it up. And Nick's not loud by any great stretch.
Right.
But Derek's all reserved, you know, I'm just happy to be here and honored to do it for my fans. That kid's a lion inside, and the quiet lion scares the snot out of me.
Derek used to wrestle, and I'm telling you right now, I have so much respect for wrestlers because I know what they go through on a regular basis. Bodybuilding is just a piece of cake to a wrestler, and I know he has no fear in his heart because I know the kid, and you know, and I think that he's fully capable of beating anyone in the world.
You know, Chris is right. You know, I'm a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I had guys that came to the gym and they were wrestlers. When you talk about combat sport and you just practice wrestling or you just practice Jiu-Jitsu, it's rare. But at any given moment, you can come out of there in a stretcher with a broken neck. It's the reality. And you need to make peace with that. You need to say, hey, this could very well happen, but I chose to do this. So when somebody comes up to me and says, Derek Lunsford is scared to compete with anybody, I'm like, no. He wasn't scared to break his neck when he was a kid.
He's been thrown on his head many times.
Isn't it the quiet guy that's scarier? When you stand out there, I don't know if you guys bow like we did in the other martial arts, but when you look at a guy and he's got that look in his face that just says, I'm quiet. I don't need to talk trash. I'm going to destroy you. That always wipes that look right off your face.
Correct. Yeah, you've seen that in great fighters, and not only wrestling, jiu-jitsu, sumo fighting. Some of the great champions that have won 10 years of championships. When there's that moment of nervousness, they have been there, so they are the calmest. And the guy who's a rookie going there, he's just overly excited about the moment.
One time, guys, when I was going to say one more time, Tim, is when I was competing, that was my thing, was to whatever happens, just let it roll off your shoulders. Whatever you see, whatever, you know, when everybody else is freaking out, keep yourself calm, keep that cortisol down, and let's check it out.
You want to spill over on that cortisol.
You don't want to do that.
All right, gentlemen, let's look at some video. Who do we got?
Great silhouette. Look at that.
The shape. Out-shape them, baby. Come on out here and out-shape them.
A couple years ago, they started this with the smoke and the silhouettes. I love that. I've loved it. Brandon was a great silhouette. Rami was a huge silhouette.
This walk here, he's pretty much telling everybody, yes, I got an invitation, and that's why I got it. Because if I wanted to do a lot of shows, half of you guys wouldn't be here. That's what he's saying.
All that. All right.
Now, the conditioning starts to dial in here, because just on the walk alone, it was beautiful shape, but a little flat for my taste. A little flat, and I know that's where Nick had a problem.
See, here's the thing, but that beautiful shape right there, it carries him so much further than, if you think about it, if you hit a front of a bicep and you got all this going on, all this shape, small waist, no wonder he's going to be totally confident.
And he had a tiny waist that day.
So you could have turned that head to the right a little bit already.
And you can see
really-
the back thickness, right?
Yeah.
That's the pose that, in my opinion, he beat Hadi. Now on the abs and thighs, he's missing separation, deep separation on the abs. and
That's
thighs.
just from not paying that close attention to it, I guarantee you. He can come back next year with that totally fixed and totally fine, because I just think I don't think he's paying that much attention. I mean, I see him do a lot of poses. I never see him training abs.
Now, guys, this is a big thing. So Nick said, I should have been second. But there are a lot of people, including Derek, at times in certain poses that said, I should have been first. And it was a battle for that position. So,
Not me, Tim.
okay. That was easy. Good
Tim,
talk.
let me be, politically correct here. I never had Derek in front of Hadi. I voted for Hadi Chupin to
Not
win
at
the
all?
Mr. Olympia. Not at all.
Bro, from the back, he was beating him.
Hey, listen, he beat him in one pose, back double biceps. You beat somebody in one pose, and then they beat you in all the other poses.
He was so much tighter
They're
from the back.
convincingly winning the show. And I told Derek, and I said, Derek is a phenomenal bodybuilder, but Chris, you have been there. Dennis James has
I'm
been
just
there.
saying, he got some
Sean
poses.
Ray has been there.
Some poses is in his favor for winning.
Back double biceps.
Some poses.
Back double biceps. But you have been there, Dennis, Sean, Flex. All of you guys have
I'm not saying
succumbed
he shouldn't have
so
won.
close to winning the Olympia, and then it didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Nope.
So let's see if we can get a look at Nick, and then I think we probably got some comparisons. But this is here's another. Just Nick dialed in that waist from last year. He's coming out at a touch of an angle, but when his lat flare hits, he did such a great job bringing that in, tightening up.
Yeah, he does all he can right there. I would have put a little bit of emphasis in my hips and really shaped out that pose. He stands up so straight up and down in that pose. You got to fix that, buddy.
So when Nick Walker comes in winning, he's not walking. He's not as impressive as Derek. But when he starts hitting the poses, man, look at those arms. Look at that. And Tim, when he hit the side chest, I think he beat Derek and Hadi on the side chest.
Agreed.
Because you're not looking at his waist. Look at this freaking density from the side.
That was a nice shot.
This guy's a freaking mammoth.
No, Nick has always been, if I was a med student, I'd want to use him for the vascularity chart. I'd want to know if we're doing an angiogram to try to find a heart abnormality, he's got two of the biggest leg veins. He just came in a little tighter. He was just tighter.
Yeah, and he's pulling off these lunge poses. As a big man, that's not very easy to do. It was easier when I was younger, but as I got a little bigger, definitely not easy to do.
Look at the back double biceps. People criticize his back double biceps. Look at the glutes, the separation, the hamstrings. He is large. Look at the lat spread. This is a great freaking bodybuilder. I'm sick and tired of people talking about, the guy with the lines, the guy with the lines, Shut up. Shut up. Bodybuilding is comparing poses. And not every pose is about a small waist. Not every pose is about striated glutes. This guy is a freaking animal, and it's time to give his credit.
Yeah, taking third, I think he deserves so much credit. Not many people had him in the top 5, if you remember when we were getting ready for the competition. But he proved a lot of people wrong. He beat Rami. He beat beat Curry. So that's 2 Olympia winners that he's already surpassed.
Look at those arms, Tim. Remember, everybody was saying, Nick Walker is going to be the guy that's going to fall out of the top 5, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things I love, and you'll both appreciate this, especially as much as we talk about the old school. I've been around the Olympia since '98. This had the deepest top 10 we've had in a long time. There's some precipitous drop-offs in the past between about 4 and 8.
Yeah, we were saying that leading into the show. Andrew Jack, it was 8th, I believe. Hunter was, those guys out of the top 5. And we thought there was going to be a shakeup, but we didn't know exactly where it's going to come from. And we got what we were thinking.
Well, if you compare the two great lineups, you have 1999 in this lineup. I think the top 10 of this lineup is more talented. But if you get the top 3, you get Hadi, Derek, and Nick. And we don't know what they're going to do for the future. But then you look at the top 3 in 99, you get Ronnie Coleman, Flex Wheeler, and Chris Cormier. It's going to be tough to beat those 3 guys.
Yeah, Jay Cutler was out of the top 15.
Dexter was 8th.
Dexter was 8.
So we talk about rivalry now. This is the core of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
These two going at it. What's going on in their heads right now? Thinking November 2nd through the 5th, I'm going to war with that guy that was next to me last year.
Well, they all got to come in better. Derek has just got to get more mature. If Derek can show more maturity throughout his physique, abs and everything, especially, and I think he's not bringing his best package still to date, and he's taken second already. So Derek, if we can improve Derek, I want to see striations in those quads. I want to see those abs etched out. I want to see the obliques and everything etched out. I want to see the abs deep and don't have those baby abs coming to the show this year, and you're going to find yourself possibly in the winner's circle.
So to your point a minute ago, you were talking about how you don't see a lot of them posting ab videos. You don't see.
I don't see it. I see Nick doing it. I don't see a lot of people doing it, but you got to pay like close attention to that area.
Well, in all fairness, when I'm flipping for something to fire me up for a workout and I put on Machiavelli motivation, I'm not wanting to hear Derek talk about his abs. When I'm doing crunches, I'm thinking about November 2nd through the 5th. None of that's going on. You want to see a heavy chest day, a heavy leg day. They got 6 plates on the hack squat. You're not thinking, those leg lifts really fire me up.
Yeah. Well, you got to pay close attention. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
We appreciate you guys paying close attention. Shoot us some comments below on where you think this rivalry stands.
We just dropped some bombs. Give me some likes on that one, huh?
Team Nick Walker or Team Derek Lunsford? Let us know who you like on the comments.
We will find that out when we read those on a future show, as well as more when we come back on Primetime Muscle.
You diet down, train hard, and supplement smart for months. When the time comes to step on stage, don't leave your tan to chance. Go with the pros. Pro Tan. #1 worldwide since 1987 and the official sponsor of the Olympia for the last 15 years. Don't step on stage without it. Pro Tan.
All right, thanks for joining us for this final segment of Primetime Muscle today, guys. We talked about this and can't talk about it enough because he is today's bodybuilding Jedi. He only gets more powerful as time goes along.
C-bum. That's what they do in the audience. C-bum.
It's insane. He's in Florida now with the rest of the Florida Pro Mafia, and he's over on the East Coast. I don't want to disclose where because the stalkers outside that very small gym would fill it up. Where are we at with him? Last year, Olympia looked amazing, but there may have been a little something.
Well, Tim, let's just say the guy is extremely popular. The guy is rich. The guy has a beautiful fiance. He drives nice cars. He's the most popular bodybuilder we have right now.
Deep pockets.
But
This is like his dating profile. I don't know what happened there.
On November 2nd, November 3rd and 4th and 5th, the entire world will be looking at his biceps. He had an injury. I think he did have a surgery, right, Chris?
I don't know if he was saying that I just saying a small part of, video of him flexing it, showing.
And it was
exactly
deep inside. It wasn't at the peak. It wasn't a full tear at the base like a lot of guys. It was underneath.
But we know it's a touchy area for him to be stressing and training, with that not being a strong point of his. So I'm sure that's going to leave a lot of doubt in your mind as you're getting ready for the show. And is it going to happen again? All that plays a part in healing mentally and outside of being physical.
Well, the scrutiny, right? The scrutiny. When Ronnie Coleman had his injury, everybody was just waiting for him to see what happened with the back lat spread.
Yeah, you need different. You see the chinks start to be falling, and that's how the cookie crumbles. Yeah.
Dorian.
That's how champions start to fall from their perch.
You talk about Dorian Yates, Jay Cutler, Ronnie Coleman, Phil Heath. You have this sense of invincibility. You're a great champion, and everybody knows Chris Bumstead is the guy. He was dominant, and Ramon is incredible, but Chris beat him. Now, Ramon has monster arms, 4 arms and biceps, and Chris was already known to have possibly just one weakness, which was his arms. And he openly said it, this is an area that I need to work. So now you have an injury on that arm. When he hits that front double biceps at the Olympia, the entire world will be looking at that biceps.
Do you really need arms, though? That's what I want to know.
He doesn't need to improve his arms.
But I'm just saying, there's been a lot of Mr. Olympia champions that didn't have great front door bicep arms, but they had a shape, and they rely on that shape. They rely on the structure of the...
Chris, here's a question. You know Dorian Yates really well. If Dorian didn't have his bicep tear, would he have gone for more years?
I'm pretty sure he would have, yep.
Now, Jay Cutler, he had that bicep tear. If he didn't have it, would he have gone for more years?
That and also the lats start to get damaged. You see a lot of damage over the years, and a lot of it comes from bodybuilding, whereas a lot of it comes from just things you do around the house. That could take you all down.
That's why you should never do things around your house.
That's what I was doing, just not doing nothing around the house. You got people to clean up for you, you got people to go pick up the groceries and stuff for you. Now they all do it on an app. I wish I had an app.
There's no apps back then.
No apps.
They had Chris Dash. So, funny story, guys, because I never really appreciated the symmetry between forearms and calves and the different things that things are supposed to be likened to. And I've trained forearms over the years, but apparently we're out to dinner, my wife and I, with Phil and his wife Cherie, and my wife is just staring.
Did you name drop right now?
I just did.
You did that?
Like that.
Okay.
And we're leaving dinner, and my wife leans over, and she was sweet about it, but she leaned over and she goes, "Do you not train forearms?" What are you talking about?
Your shit looking thin.
Did you see Phil's forearms? His low bicep where the attachment is? What am I supposed to do? She goes, "Well, I'm thinking maybe hammer curls." Now you know what I should be training. I should be doing some hammers. She goes, "I don't know, maybe some forearms and wrist curls."
Maybe some
hurts where you can't see it.
I gotta tell you, I wouldn't be surprised if Phil Heath never worked forearms, and he has those monster forearms because of his ability to gain muscle, his round muscle bellies, and he probably did some heavy biceps, heavy back, and that forearm just developed. But he was on Cutler podcast, and he's just sitting there, and I was looking at his arms, and I said, listen, this guy has not competed in 2 years, and he still looks incredible. Just this section, you can see why he was such a freak, Well,
there's a lot of buzz right now. Is he coming back to the Olympia? But here's a guy, he's old enough to do the Masters. I think he's 42, 44.
I think he's going to want a big ticket for that one.
Huh?
He's going to call him Big Ticket.
But it helps the brand. It helps brand Phil.
I remember when I first saw Phil, he came into Gold's Gym. But back in the day, Gold's Gym was still it was the place to be when he first walked in. I remember walking in, I saw him, we locked eyes. And I was like, but back then, we didn't just greet you into Gold's Gym. Not like, hey, buddy, welcome in here.
Did you jump him in like it was lockup?
No, it's like that. Boo. They're like waiting for him to reach for
sound?
That was the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Is that how you guys intimidated each other with that little sound?
Yeah, that's
because that wouldn't have intimidated me. Okay,
but we didn't just greet people in.
You just sounded like you sold yoga mats at Whole Foods.
Dude, they didn't have
Flex and Rico was not the greeters of people. Even when Paul Dillette, when he came in, we didn't say nothing to Paul. We act like we didn't see him. We just I don't even see him.
Were you impressed by Phil when he came in? Was he an amateur or a pro?
I believe he just turned pro, and he just won, and he was just making his rounds to the West Coast. I think it was his first time on the West Coast.
What year was that, Terry?
2005.
What colored trunks?
He was wearing black trunks.
So yeah, I was in the later years of my career, but I was still very powerful at the time. So he came in, I was just like, okay. And then he told me years later, he's like, man, you didn't even say nothing to me when I made me feel like this, man. I was like, you just came into our neighborhood, man, like unannounced. You didn't check in and nothing like that.
Unannounced? Who the hell do you think you are? Don't be ridiculous.
I'll tell you, that's the attitude back then, dude. You didn't check in with the big homie when you came into my neighborhood.
You think you're Barack Obama or something?
Hey,
people need to announce.
He was on the West Coast.
Bro. You
didn't throw them CCs up. You come to Gold's Gym back in the day.
So you know what makes me feel better? Because when I trained at Gold's Gym Venice, I thought it was personal. I thought, oh, who's that little guy? Let's ignore him. Now I know they were ignoring Phil Heath as a pro. He just didn't greet people.
Yeah, he didn't check in. You didn't check in. You didn't check in.
Well, 2005, a lot. 2005.
Let us know you're coming.
2005 was almost like the end of it. You really got, I wasn't there in the 90s. I actually moved to California in 1999.
The end of what?
The 90s. Like, it's the 90s.
Yeah, I was one of the last ones in there.
Yeah.
That's
in the 2000s, most of the mega stars were gone of Gold's Gym Venice. It was in the 90s that you would see guys like that.
It's just a spectacular group, and it's just fun to think back to those. But now we look back, as we do, this being the official show that's the road to the Olympia. Every qualification, every show leads up to our Super Bowl, that leads up to that big moment. But we talk about guys that don't have to compete. If he doesn't have to beat himself up all year at the highest level and be prepped for a show, does that give him an advantage, or is it just the disadvantage of not being a hungry young gun like the Miracle Bear, Urs Kalasinski, or Ramon Dino? Where do these guys land?
Well, I agree with you, Tim. He has a huge advantage. He doesn't have to earn a qualification. He can work his injury, calmly. He can, test his body, pace himself. If this guy needs to do the New York Pro to qualify, he's in trouble because he's just recovering from the Olympia, from the bicep tear, and now he needs to qualify. Or he needs to get a show close to the Olympia. And, a lot of the times you get the best guys close to the Olympia trying to qualify. He doesn't have to do that. He knows when the Olympia happens. That's in November. It gives him plenty of time to be very cautious about that biceps and going to the Olympia fully recovered. With that being said, when that guy hits a frontable biceps, there will be about 50 million people with the eyes on that bicep.
Cameras that shouldn't be there.
Him and his coach, they need to know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, that's what I believe also. Everyone's going to want to see what that looks like. And you can't, there's no way around it. Everyone wants to see, is there a chink in the armor? Do I have a way I can get in there and surpass him? I mean, he's going to be in another year with his coach, Hani Rabat. I'm sure he's going to be in very good condition. He had a great condition this last year. I thought, the quads were even down a little bit. I know he had a little bit of damage in the left quad. So you never know what's going to happen, man. It could be one rep away from everything changing in a person's career.
Well, we'll find out what happens with the biggest member of our sport in November, of course. But then the other thing we love to see, I get to see it from the podium, you get to see it from the judge's desk, but you travel around the world finding these freaks that we've never known that are qualifying or that just show up all new at a pro show, and now they're a contender. You're going to Thailand, Philippines, Brazil. Where are you going to find this next big star?
So, Tim, I'm going to open up and tell you that the judge's favorite thing to do is to judge an athlete that's incredible and then go ahead and text other judges and say, wow, look at this guy, he's incredible. That's, really? I remember
inside scoop.
When Chris Bumstead turned pro, pictures were all over because he looked incredible. Ramon turned pro at the Olympia in 2018. And pictures came through. Man, this guy looks incredible. Franciele Matos, when she won, her pro card at the Olympia 2018, man, she looked incredible. So when you travel around and you judge some of the amateurs, man, can you imagine you're the first judge, the first guy to find out Chris Cormier? There was one guy that judged Chris Cormier in the 90s or maybe in the 80s, and he said, guys, there's this guy from Palm Springs, small waist, large clavicle bones. His name is Chris Cormier. Look at his picture. You almost feel like you claim the new talent. You know what I mean?
This is my gold. I found it.
Exactly,
See the love you get?
I love it.
You forget that because it's got.
I felt really good.
It's got a way out.
I thought you built me up there a little bit.
Look, Chris, listen. I'm going to say this, and I hope
Did you build me up?
I hope Nico edits this because I don't want this to go on camera. Okay, I'm making this public. I do not want this to go on camera.
Thanks.
Okay.
Thanks, brother.
So, guys,
should we just stop it now?
Chris Cormier was, along with Dorian Yates, my favorite bodybuilder coming up.
What?
Yes.
Come on.
Do not put that on camera.
Bring it in.
I never want this
Bring it
to be
in.
on camera.
Come on.
Okay, do not
Bring
put
it
that
in.
on camera.
Bring it
This
in.
will not be on camera.
Bring it in, buddy.
Keep filming. Get all this.
Bow down, kiss the ring, baby.
Wow.
I feel vulnerable right now, guys.
Wow. All right. We will see, as always. If you know of someone, I just found someone in my gym that I think is going to have a solid shot at this. Out there training where Natalia Coelho trains and Ivy Rain and a couple of the other pros out in Orlando. If you think you have somebody you think is going to be the next big star, someone that's already in the lineup you think is going to make a big jump, if you just want to leave us dinosaurs, do that. But follow, like, subscribe, comment. We love hearing from all of you.
Subscribe. Need some subscriptions, guys.
Absolutely. As always, the one and only
Tarek El Guindy with the great host, Tim Wilkins.
Real deal, baby.
the real deal. Tarek El Guindy's
Baby.
favorite bodybuilder, along with Dorian
Oh,
Yates.
God.
Lightweight.
That's not on tape. I promise it's not. We'll see you next time on Primetime Muscle.